As promised, in this exercise, we're going to begin drawing with the spiral tool, and I'm going to show you how it works because it is easily the wonkiest of the line drawing tools inside of Illustrator. And I'm going to go over here to my line tool, click and hold, and release on the tear-off bar. So I have an independent panel of tools, and then I'm going to switch over to my spiral tool. Now, one of the things about this tool, it doesn't give you quite the degree of control I think you might like. However, it does give you a lot of controls, so I'll show you what you can do and what you can't do with the tool. Starting with, notice as you drag from the approximate center of the path outward so that the far outside edge of the path is where it ends. And that's always the way it's going to work, which isn't necessarily the way you want it to work. For example, you might wish you could drag from the bottom of the heart outward in order to create this spiral, but it's just not going to work that way. So you have this great positioning control inside of Illustrator. Notice, by the way, that both of my spirals are selected. I'm not sure if that's the way it's going to be for you, but in my case, I'm just going to press the backspace key or the delete key on the Mac in order to get rid of them. As you're drawing a spiral, if you want to be able to position it on the fly, because it's never going to be where you want it to be right off the bat, you can position any of these paths on the fly as you draw them. This goes for the line tool, the arc tool, the polar grid tool, etc. You can press the space bar as you're dragging with the tool, notice that, in order to float the spiral to a different location. So I might drag it over here to the bottom of the heart, like so, in order to align it properly, and then begin scaling it some more, and then, of course, it would no longer be aligned the way I want it. Then I would press the space bar and move it back, and so on, in order to get the spiral that I'm looking for. So as long as the space bar is down, you're moving the spiral. As soon as you release the space bar and continue drawing, and by the way, my mouse button is down this entire time, then I scale the spiral. You can also change the decay of the shape. Notice this, if you press the Control key or the Command key on the Mac and drag back and forth with the tool, you're changing how fast it spirals inward, and then if you go beyond the edge of the path, you're going to flip it the other direction. Now, you might think that changes the tool into something you might be able to use more easily, because after all, now you drag from what seems to be the beginning of the spiral to me to the inside. But if I press the backspace key or the delete key to get rid of that shape and then begin drawing from the bottom of the heart, you can see that that's not the case. This time we are drawing a very different path, but we have even less control than we had before. Anyway, you'd press the space bar in order to get things aligned and so on. I'm going to go ahead and press the Control key or the Command key on the Mac to send the decay in the other direction because I actually find it less confusing. Something else you can do, after I spacebar drag this guy over here, you can also change the number of segments inside of your spiral. By default, you're creating 10 segments, that is 10 arcs that are linked together, spiraling inward here. But you can press the up arrow key, notice that, in order to add segments to the spiral, or press the down arrow key in order to get rid of segments. And those are the various options that are available to you. One of the things you can't do is flip this shape, which I sure wish you could do. I wish you could flip this path the other direction at any given moment in time by pressing the F key the way you can with the arc tool. Doesn't work, however, with the spiral tool. Instead, what you need to do is visit a dialog box. And to get to that dialog box, I'll press the backspace key, once again, the delete key on the Mac, and you click with the tool. And that brings up this spiral dialog box, and then you could reset your radius value to 80, which I believe is the default. And we also have a default decay value of 80%. So you can modify those as much as you want. I could reset the segments back to 10. Again, these are all default settings. Then you've got this style. So you can either curl up and around this way, which is the default setting, the one we've been using, or you can curl the other direction. That is to say, you can curl in a clockwise direction from the center outward. And I'll go ahead and select that second setting, click OK, and I go ahead and create this spiral. And then if I don't want it, because it just lands in the middle of nowhere there, then I could draw my spiral on the other side of the heart like so, and then use the spacebar in order to get it into position. But this isn't the right size spiral. And if you want to achieve the exact same effects that I did, then you're probably better off creating a kind of tracing template. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the next exercise.